Welcome to the Rollercoaster Ride of Parenting podcast. I'm Jennie.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Susanna. And we'll be your hosts as we discuss the highs and the lows of the parenting journey.
We'll be having conversations based on the content from Susanna's book, A Childcare Expert's Guide to Enjoying Your Parenting. Throughout her time as a childcare owner and operator, Susanna has encountered many overwhelmed parents, and she wrote this book to encourage and equip them to be the best parents they can be.
This podcast is an opportunity to share more tips and tricks around the challenges that parents face. It's our hope that through our shared knowledge, experiences, and conversations, we help you to better embrace your parenting and enjoy your roller coaster ride. Welcome back to the podcast. On today's episode, we'll be discussing the importance of having traditions for our families. We'll explore how to create fun and memories and the impact this has on our children and family units. Once again, we'll have Susanna's book to guide our conversation as well as draw on our personal experience to provide you with advice and tips on how to create these memories with our children. So, Ben.
Yes, my friend.
How are you today?
I'm great. I'm on a bit of a sugar high, actually, because we've been snacking the lollies that are also decorating our set.
You guys did eat a lot of lollies. I only had 2 biscuits before, so
you're good.
I'm okay.
You're good. Yeah, okay.
But today we're talking about fun and memories, and I feel like you guys are some of the most fun families I know. And when you get all of the Batemans together, it just becomes kind of overwhelmingly fun.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about what's your favorite fun things you guys have done?
Favorite fun thing that we've done. I guess the one that comes to my mind most recently, I think it was a year ago, we all got together for my nephew's 10th birthday, and he had this Nerf gun fight.
I was there.
There you go.
I brought 600 Nerf bullets.
You are amazing. I appreciate you.
They're all the ones I was picking up around the paddock.
You are welcome, Susanna. I ordered those for our Boxing Day Nerf.
Oh, yeah.
Leftovers that came to your
Okay.
house.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Your Nerf bullets blessed us immensely.
Yeah.
But yes, it's those kind of things that really stick out to me is when we spend time as a family. My brother Mick, who's Josh's dad, did most of it, but I helped a little bit putting the barricades together, and we put war paint on, and we just went to town. So I love those kind of things, just the opportunity to do something crazy, do something fun with my nephews and nieces and with my own family as well. So, yeah, love it.
That was a really cool day because Maxie came. He was invited to the older boy's birthday party, which was pretty cool.
That's pretty amazing.
That's stuff to dream about when you go to sleep at night.
Absolutely.
And he was ready, and he had chose just the right Nerf guns he was going to take with him. But I remember when we got there, it really wasn't that much. There was a lot of planning, but there wasn't that much. There was obstacles and things from the farm were kind of moved around, but it was kind of the hype leading up to it.
Yes.
And whose team you were going to be on and what color your team was. They were talking about it for 2 weeks in advance.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was big.
The boys that were invited were talking about it.
Right. They were messaging moms back and forth.
Whoa.
And the anticipation. If they had run out of Nerf bullets, I don't even know what would have done.
Oh, my goodness. They couldn't have run out of Nerf bullets. I was telling you, I was picking those up for weeks later. They were everywhere.
I ordered an 800 pack from Amazon that came from America.
I can believe that.
Yeah, it was huge.
So what did we use yours after you'd used them, you were saying? What did you use the Nerf bullets for originally?
Well, okay, so we've recently built a house in the past couple of years in a new estate. So I have kind of become the token organizer of activities that people didn't know they wanted to be involved in the estate. So I come up with a theme, and then I just rope everybody into it.
Right.
So on Boxing Day, there's a lot of empty blocks in between the houses that hadn't been built on yet. So I persuaded the introvert husband to build lots of obstacles, and we got every family had a color. And we had the Gladiator soundtrack busting from the speakers. And it was one of the most epic multi-family tribal Nerf explosions. And then the next year, everybody's like, are we doing it again? And I said, no, because I gave the bullets away. So
I've got a lot of them. I can give them back.
you gathered them. They're recycled.
I recycle them, yeah.
Yeah, it was really
sustainability, Jen.
Yeah, like with lots of tiny pieces of plastic, sustainability.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, I love
that. Sounds like it was a lot of fun. And so obviously your neighbours really got into it if they were wanting to do it again the next year.
I didn't think they were until the day. Like I thought I was creating the momentum. Like I kept going, Nerf gun battle, 1 week, counting down, Nerf gun battle, 2 days. And they're like, Jennie, we will be there. We've got a color. But then on the day, everybody showed up with like their full colors, and like they're kind of like walking in with like the returning champions kind of pose. And but everybody loved it. And then afterwards they were like, we thought you were crazy, but this was really fun and we have to do it every year.
Awesome.
So good.
Well, thinking about that reminds me of another time. Wasn't with my girls, my wife were there, but we were in Bali with Susanna at the foundation that we support over there, Bali Life Foundation, at their group home for all their kids. And we spent hours filling up water balloons, and we had a massive water balloon fight. There must be 40
and we were on
of
teams.
We were on teams.
4 different teams.
And like it was cool. Like the kids were going crazy. Like we had a couple hundred balloons for each team. But the 2 biggest kids there was Susanna, like in her mid-60s, and there's what's the other dude's name? Rob. How old's Rob?
Yeah, he's the same age. Oh no, he's younger than me. I think he's early 60s.
You would have thought they were the biggest kids there, like 2 people in their 60s, like just hunting each other through the children to throw water balloons at each other. It was hectic. But I think that's where like that, even what we did on the farm with Josh's party comes from. Mum has done that since I can remember. It's really gone out of her way to actually, and not just create big events. Well, that hasn't been often. It's more been finding the fun in things and really looking when we're excited, getting excited with us. Like I really remember that from my childhood, that Mum would actually amplify often whatever fun we were having. Whether it was a haircut she didn't want us to have because she was a hairdresser, she'd do it for us. Like she was always, even when she didn't really want to, logically she would choose to help us find the fun in things as long as it wasn't too dangerous or too crazy. Maybe it was dangerous.
Yes.
Some of the things we did.
I think sometimes they were.
Did you
you're all
plant?
still alive.
That's it.
And I'm still alive, so it's all good.
Did you plant? And so did you come up with these things like you'd plan them in advance, or was it just really spontaneous, or like?
I think a bit of both. Yeah, spontaneous and planned. I know that once we started having grandchildren, then we started to deliberately plan traditions and fun things to do as a family because it was different again. You've got more than one unit. So, yeah, that's when we started having that was Rob's idea, that we have a yearly week away together as a family, and the whole family come together. So now there's like 22 of us, and every year, although at the moment with coronavirus that couldn't happen this year, but every other year, all of us go away together. And then even while we're away together, we like to do things that are fun. It's tricky because we have such a different a variety of ages now, because Madison, the eldest, is 19. Elka, the youngest, is 15 months. So you've got to do stuff. But we're really, really blessed because the 2 older ones, Madison and Amelia's 17, they're really good. They love the younger children, and they're really, really good at joining in with the younger ones as well. So, yeah, it's just fine. And it doesn't have to be expensive stuff. It doesn't have to be planned ahead. It doesn't have to be anything complicated. It can be simple things like, I know often when we go away, we'll just go to, those zones? We go in time zones. Just going to time zone and having fun there and watching all the kids play together and all the different members of different families playing together. Things like that it can be, or it can be as simple as going to the beach and just doing fun things like building sand racing cars around children and stuff like that. But it's so I don't want parents to feel that it has to be something super planned and super big. It can be simple, but it can be lots of fun. And actually, if you really want the children to enjoy it, you'll let them lead. Find out what their interests are and go around that, which is pretty much what I did with our kids when they were growing up, was getting involved with what they found lots of fun and what they found interesting. I can remember when Ben got his first skateboard and his crazy mum was skating down the steep driveway on the skateboard and stacked it and ended up with all grazed knees and everything. But just, it can be simple things like that, just getting in, joining in with the kids and at their level, and then also having the organised things as well, combination of the two. But it doesn't have to be costly and it doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah, one of the things we do when we go away at least once or twice in that week is we'll all go for a scoot ride together, whether it's a trike or a skateboard or a scooter or a bike. We just all, not everybody, I don't think some of the adults will come, but most of the adults and definitely all the kids will come. And it's just this crazy mob strung out for about 500 metres, depending on how quick they are.
Yeah.
From the boys that are like 10 and 11 now, riding as quick as they can. Other people struggling to catch up, their uncles trying to take them out or weave in between them. It's just, that's free, but it's just choosing to have those moments. And I don't necessarily wake up in the morning going, I'd love to go for a skate with little kids, but in the same time, I can actually enjoy their enjoyment of it.
Yeah.
And it's finding the fun in what they're doing. And I have I've got a number of really amazing uncles. And I think part of what I appreciate growing up was that they did take an interest in me as a kid. And so I've tried to do that with my own nieces and nephews as well, not just my kids, but my extended family, trying to take an interest. And that looks different. We have different relationships with my different siblings and even my brothers and sisters-in-law and stuff. But where I've been able to, I've tried to, like even if we're together at Christmas, trying to speak to the kids and find out what they are into. And like any other human being, I have some of my nieces and nephews that are easier to connect with for me than others, but it's trying to connect with all of them in some way, shape or form, I think.
I think that's cool though, because I don't know, I'm just kind of thinking back, because I grew up in Alabama with a lot of extended family, all really geographically quite close, and some that you got along with better than others, some that, so you do have all those kind of inter-family dynamics, and then that really extended family as well. But I think that's one of the things I always try to recreate with my kids here is that connection, because there's something really beautiful about all of the different generations and what they kind of, because when you do have those big gatherings, we were in New Zealand for a month, probably almost a year ago now, but we stayed in a little flat downstairs at the great-grandparents' house, and they're in their 80s now, and I just went, oh, are our kids going to completely overwhelm them? We need to give them space. But what was so interesting was there was puzzles on the table all the time, occasionally big family meals where everybody came in and the bigger cousins were. So it was just really complimented, and there wasn't any, how sometimes you're always looking for activity, or you're trying to entertain the kids or keep the boredom down, but I don't think we felt bored at all. That was real, and there was really meaningful moments in the busyness. There was a few times I walked in and I saw Iz laying with her head on her great-granddad's chest and just listening to a book and talking about fishing, and just those little moments you grab. But I don't think you would get that without the time to do that. You don't plan those. Those are the things that just happen.
You have to plan the time to be together, and then after that you just let it flow. And the other thing is, what happens with all these sort of family activities, whether it be on a bigger scale or a small scale, really doesn't matter, but the more people children have in their lives that are safe and secure, and the different age groups within that, the more secure that child is. The more they'll know their identity, the more they'll be confident in who they are, because they know they are loved, they know they are listened to, and it really does build their self-esteem and their resilience, I believe, because they know who they are. They know it's their tribe. They have a tribe that they belong to, and we all need a tribe. And it doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be 22 like it's 22 of us. It doesn't have to be 22. It can be a lot smaller. But if you've got your tribe and you know that that tribe is going to love you no matter what, because in amongst it all, you go away for a week with a family and you're going to have kids that have meltdowns. You're going to have, you're going to have those times. But it's great for them to know that they are loved even when they have the meltdown, that they're not just loved when they're having a good time and being really obedient, but they're loved not just by mum and dad when they have a meltdown, but they're actually loved by the extended family when they're having a meltdown or whatever. You know what I mean?
When you talk about tribe, one of the things that came up for me, just listening to you talk about that, is the way that you really embraced my friends as well. Even some of my friends that our other mutual friends' parents thought were rat bags, you were still more than happy to have around our house, and you really showed the boys a lot of compassion and really embraced them. And I think that was one of the things that I know it was one of the things I really appreciated, was that you really embraced my friends as well. Like, you didn't encourage me to do some of the dumb things the boys did, and we both know there was lots of dumb things I and the boys did. But you were, you just embraced who they were. And I guess a lot of my mates came around and liked being at our house because they did know that it was a place that they felt safe and were valued. I mean, they wouldn't have put it that way at 16.
At the stage, yeah.
But I've had conversations with some of them afterwards and they've said those kind of things to me. How did you go about creating that environment for my mates, do you think?
I think I am a great believer that everybody is of value and everybody is of the same value, simply because we're made in the image of God. So that would be the base of it for a start. It doesn't matter if someone is a bit of a misfit or a bit of an outcast, or if they're the most popular person on the planet Earth. As far as I'm concerned, they're all of the same value. And so even though these kids were actually seen by society to be bits of misfits, let's face it, they were.
Yeah, it's true.
And their behaviour was left a lot to be desired often. But I was also firm with them too. They knew that I would let them go so far and no further. But I think they respected it because they knew I genuinely loved them and I genuinely valued them. But the main reason I did it was because I valued you so much. And if they're your friends and I'm going to value you, then I have to value your friends, whether I agree with you choosing those particular people as being your friends. But I guess when I think about it, I've never thought about it before, but that was the example my mum gave me, because I also was quite rebellious, and I had friends that my teachers told my mum that she should stop me seeing and having as friends, but my mum didn't worry about that. She had them around, and but it is one of the reasons why I had your friends around so much, because I'd rather you be under my nose with those friends than somewhere else with those friends. That's the reality.
That was wise.
But it did give me the opportunity to really speak life into these kids. And let's face it, not all of them, but quite a few of them were kids that struggled at home. And potentially that's why they had the behaviour they had. And so I was very aware of that as well. So the more value I could put into them. But that doesn't mean to say that I didn't have my times where I'd say to you, you need to be careful with those boys.
Yeah, definitely.
And guide you in that, because I think we need to do that with our children. If they start bringing friends home that you're concerned about that might be trouble, you need to talk to your children about that. You can't just accept them and say, yes, they're valuable and they can behave however, or you can behave however you want to with them. No, I think you have to guide. So it was like guiding you around making wise choices while still valuing your friends. And sometimes you didn't make the wisest choices, but that's natural because you were a kid. I couldn't expect you to always make the right decisions around those friends. But I think because I deliberately put so many boundaries around it, and you were at our place so much, let's face it, they were at our place an awful lot. It made it a lot harder for you to go and make really, really dumb decisions that could have lifelong repercussions for yourself. And it gave the boys an opportunity to actually see what being loved and valued really looked like.
I have a confession to make. I have one vivid memory where I think we were about 16, 17. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning and a whole bunch of the boys were over. So we were all up, obviously, and we decided we should go skinny dipping. And we're skinny dipping in the pool, and we thought we were being quiet, but obviously we're being noisy because the next thing is the light comes on and all the boys going straight to the sides of the pool, and here's you yelling at us, telling us to get inside. It's like we had something on in the morning. We're all like, yep, we're coming. And you had no idea, and you were like furious. You know, like, no, you guys need to get out of the pool now. Yep, we're coming, because we're all in like dark parts of the pool, like right up against the walls and freaking out. And eventually you'd had enough and you went in, and then we all gingerly got out and got dressed and came back inside. But that was kind of the environment you created for us. So too, like you said, the boys were very respectful of you 90% of the time. And having a mum like that in a safe environment, I didn't want to do really dumb things because I didn't want to risk that safety that I had. And as an adult, I can really appreciate that now. But I certainly wasn't going to do some of the things the boys did because it wasn't worth the risk. There was still dumb things I did, but not some of the more destructive things the boys
And to be
did.
honest, I was the same with my friends. My mother and father taught me to value myself too much to make some of the dumb decisions they made. And they did my friends also made some really dumb decisions. But again, a lot of that came from the environment in which they were brought up in as well. But I think that's what parents have to realise. If you really value your child, if you really believe in them, even when they have challenging friends, obviously you still have to put boundaries around them. My mum put strict boundaries around me as well to protect them. But you can trust your child and tell your child you trust them and believe in them. When you're speaking that into them, they don't want to lose that. They don't want to damage that. And they will be game enough to say to their friends no, because they don't want to damage their relationship with you, which is much healthier and better than them saying no because mum and dad told me no, or mum and dad are going to kill me if they find out I've done such and such. It's much healthier if they do it because they know, no, mum and dad actually believe in me. I don't want to ruin that. I want to keep that sort of relationship happening with mum and dad rather than out of fear. I don't know how we got onto that subject, but we did.
So, Jen, back in the States, what were the things that you're growing up? What would your family do to create memories or to have fun with that?
Yeah, I don't know. It is interesting because, you know, when you find, like, you don't really consciously think about it until you have kids and you start recreating some of those things. But I remember just the really simple stuff that my dad specifically, he would always create fun around something really like amp up something that was just an everyday thing. It wasn't even that big of a deal, but it would be like, we are about to get in the car and we're going to drive to the grocery store. But on the way, we're going to get a snow cone. Like, I'm like, what? You know, like, let's go to that. But it was always like this, the way you sell it, I think. And I remember there was a couple of years ago that, you know, you just find yourself doing this. But I remember I got the kids and I thought about it. And I said, okay, get in bed, get your teeth brushed, get your clothes on. We got to go to bed. And prayed with them, cuddled them, left, waited until I knew they weren't asleep, but walked back in. And I was like, you've got to get up right now. And they're like, what? I was like, I'm not going to tell you what we're doing, but it may involve Christmas lights and it may involve ice cream. I don't even know. And their little eyes were like, what? What is this? And I was like, this is so out of the normal, but we are going to have the most fun. And it was funny because I even put them to bed an hour earlier than I normally would have. But it was just, they were like, we cannot believe we get to do this. No way. And I thought about it and I was like, oh, it was just the sell. And I think they know. So now sometimes when I'm like, do you want to go do something crazy fun? And they're like, what is it? You know, like edge of their seats. What is it going to be? So I thought, and I was like, I think I got that from my dad. Like, I think that was one of the things, and I didn't even realize it until looking back on it. And I went, oh, we did that. We made the ordinary stuff really, Max calls them epic adventures. The ordinary became epic.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Even simple traditions like we have with our family now with family night dinner on a Monday night once a week. The whole family comes around for dinner. With all these things, though, I think what you have to do, particularly if you've got a bigger family like we do have, you have to hold it all as the parents loosely and not make it something that people have to do and feel condemned if they don't join in. So like what Ben was saying before, when some of the aunts or the uncles would choose to stay back at the unit instead of coming on the bike riding and all that sort of thing. You have to have that in there, and we have that in there. People are free to choose if they want to be involved with whatever activity we're doing, and if they can't or they don't, there isn't any condemnation, there isn't any guilt, there's freedom in it. And then they want to do it a lot more. But if you're making people do it, you've lost the enjoyment already. You know, it's really a waste of time having it. And so Monday night, mostly everybody's there, but sometimes some aren't, and that's okay. But when one family doesn't turn up, the others are really disappointed when they don't turn up but that's just something as simple as having dinner together, you know. And yes,
very
it does.
loud, raucous dinner.
Yes,
with
very loud,
16
raucous
kids.
dinner. And it does take effort. It means that a lot of my Monday is taken up with preparing the meal, but it's more than worth it when you see the benefit of it. And now with at the moment with lockdown, with coronavirus, and we can't have it, the kids are really missing it. They're really missing it. So I can imagine the first one when we're all allowed back together again, that's going to be a a bit of a noisy time, but it'll be good. Yeah, so simple things, just thinking about simple things with traditions. It might be traditions of just the tradition of reading a book before going to bed, and then talking about the book. So if parents can not just read the book, okay, quick, we'll read the book, get into bed, off to sleep, that's not really a tradition, that's just a habit. But if you have a tradition where you talk about the book and you involve the child in the book and you really engage, they're the sort of traditions that they're, again, simple but wonderful.
That's cool. I was just thinking about traditions. You sing happy birthday. You and Dad sing happy birthday. To whoever's birthday it is, you know you're going to get a call probably around 7 from
in the morning.
Yeah, in the morning from you and Dad singing happy birthday. It might not be on key, but it's sang with a lot of love.
It'd be very unlikely to be on key.
I don't even know if that's the right term. But we've all kind of picked it up. So we actually ring each other and sing, especially if it's to the kids.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of perpetuated down, but it's just that little bit of effort you go to not just say happy birthday, but to sing it. And I guess there's a million different ways to show people that you care about them. And often it's just taking that little extra step. It does cost you something, but it's not much really, like just to amp it up a little bit like your dad did even. Like it's going to that little bit of extra effort, hey?
Yeah, and it might cost you something, and it usually does, but the payback is unbelievable. It's more than worth it, you know.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think the fact that we do work together, go to family dinner on Monday nights, go on holidays for a week together, and we do spend a lot of time together, but like you said, there's not that pressure. Like sometimes it's like, oh, do I really want to go to family dinner, the whole family? We'll just have a night off. And it's like you said, we don't have to. We don't have to go away with you guys for a week. But I think because there's not that pressure when we are away, we can do our own things. Like we separate as families at times too to do our own things. Means that, you do want to go and hang out. And like I miss all the little rugrats now. There's definitely moments when I don't in the midst of family dinner craziness or family holiday craziness. But it's been interesting to see how much I miss all that family stuff that we do together. So it was just your birthday, talking about singing.
Yes.
You just turned 69.
I did.
So Dad organised for us all to Zoom in at the same time and sing you happy birthday.
Yes.
That was definitely off key or off pitch or whatever.
And being on Zoom, it was all time delayed. Everybody sang at different times. But it was fun. It was good. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. You just have a go at it. And that's what the whole thing about this, enjoying the ride of your parenting, is not try and do it perfectly and be spontaneous, and it all works out well. It all works out well.
Yeah, like I think Anna was here at work, so she missed that particular part. I zoomed in from the car on my way home.
Yeah.
So it was messy. Like you're saying, it wasn't
perfect.
No, by any stretch, but the heart was there. And I think that is part of that roller coaster ride, that it's just being willing to get on board and then to be part of that journey sometimes, as hectic as it may be.
Yeah.
Is there anything different, Jen, about the way Aussie culture does parenting and some of this stuff compared to what you got brought up with in the States? You often refer like that big family environment you came from at home. And
I don't know if it's Aussie culture, or I know I definitely really felt it when we lived in Sydney. So in a big city versus a smaller community where you know each other. Because as you guys were talking, I was thinking, we don't have the, copious amounts of family here that we do things with constantly. But I just think, we've probably created that fun and that community and that safety net for our kids within our little actual community.
Yeah.
Which is really good, because I think there's a lot of it's almost like when you were saying, you created a tradition, you created something that was important with the song, like with the birthday song. And then when the environment's different, it's still important. So even if you did it a different way, or if it looked different than you thought it would, it still was meaningful, and it still was good, and it was still, something that connected people. So I think that I was kind of going, it's interesting, like all the different, people in our street, and we don't have cousins next door, but we have, the Catho crew. Like we have the crew of kids who have shirts with a little hashtag Catho crew on them.
Oh, really?
That we do.
You have shirts?
We have shirts.
Wow. It's an army.
It is a little army. But even last night was one of our neighbors' birthdays, and Izzy went, I have to paint her something. So she showed up at 7 p.m. and handed her little painting.
Oh, wow.
And then they skipped around and went to the paramedic's house, who bakes them cookies every week as a reward for school. So there's little things that I think in that space and in that relationship where people are quite intentional about making little things, like our friend who bakes a cookie every Friday night for the kids just to encourage them to do well at school. So I don't know. I think maybe it is that mix of spontaneous and quite intentional.
Yeah.
Like that balance between it, that, sometimes it can turn into manic busyness, and then sometimes it's just, that is really important and that's really special. And I reckon the kids are going to remember those really random things that I didn't even think about or plan as they're growing older.
Yeah. And, Jen, when we were raising our children, we didn't have extended family around us. I had extended family, but they lived 9 hours drive away. And so really the same thing happened for us raising our children. Our friends, we had groups, probably a group of about, 4 or 5 families that they had children the same age as some of our children. So we would go away together for a week once a year. We did that for quite a few years. And we would have times together. It was kind of like the family that wasn't family. And the cousins that weren't really blood cousins for our children. And it worked well because all except for one of those couples lived here on the coast without any family with them. So we all kind of became each other's extended families. So I would encourage families with that too. They don't have to come from a big family like us. They can be away from family like you're away from family with your children, or they can just maybe have a brother or sister. And if you don't have a good relationship with that brother and sister, then you can still create family traditions within your little family unit and with your little family unit with other family units. You can find those people that you can do it with, so that your children get that same benefit of having an extended family, because they've got other people in their lives who believe in them, and other people in their lives other than mummy and daddy that they do these traditions. And it doesn't have to be a lot of traditions. You don't have to have a lot. You just need to have a few that the children rely on and brings them stability and confidence.
So if you were, what's the encouragement you would give us now around this topic of creating memories? So what's something that you would encourage us to do?
I would encourage people to look at their children and what are the children's interests, and then be very deliberate in planning some traditions, understand the importance of the traditions. That's what your father and I did. We deliberately planned some traditions, but then there's others like that singing happy birthday. That was never planned. That kind of just evolved and happened. But now it is planned because we know that it has become a part of a tradition. And so keep it simple. Don't make it expensive. If it is expensive, that's okay too, but it doesn't have to be expensive. But look at what the children are interested in and go with that. And yes, some of it can be what you're interested in, but if you want the children to be involved, you'll be looking at what they're interested in, what makes them happy, what makes them excited, and go with those. And don't be burdened with you have to have a whole lot of traditions. You don't have to have a whole lot. And your traditions don't have to look the same as other people's.
Awesome. Thank you. So, Jim, what have you got out of today's conversation?
I don't know. I think it is just, I always say, really intentional with creating memories and not making it really serious. Like, I love that. Keeping it really simple, and it doesn't have to be expensive, and it can be just the everyday stuff that you do consistently and really intentionally with the kids. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for listening to our show today. If you want to catch up with us on our social medias, on Instagram, you can go to Enjoy Parenting AU. On Facebook, it's Enjoying Parenting. Our next episode is going to be moving out of our comfort zone. And we just want to thank you for joining in on our conversation today. And remember to enjoy your roller coaster ride.